Om Shanti, everyone. Warm welcome to Monday night together, practical meditation. And in a few moments, we'll do some meditation together, a reflection on who we are and what meditation is all about, soul consciousness. And after that, I'll invite onto the screen our guest for this evening, who is Sister Lynn Elliott. And Lynn comes with a lot of experience in the lifestyle of Brahmakumaris and also a lot of experience in the professional alternative health regions. And a lot of life experience. So it makes her to be a very interesting person to unpack some of the mysteries of meditation, which she will do this evening. She's based at our Doncaster Teaching Location, and there she does a lot of work with not only teaching the basic foundation course, but helping with the children's programs as well. So straddles that kind of age limit, which is so nice. Of course, the soul has no age, so it's easy to do. When you're thinking of yourself as soul consciousness, age is no barrier. So just a warm welcome.
So good evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday night. We thought we'd look at a little bit of what Anthony started on there in his meditation and looking at the journey of the soul, and bring it into practical experiences using the powers. Now, you've talked about the powers over the last few weeks and connecting to the spirituality that we got from Tim last week that gave you a lot of insights. But sometimes you need to just pull them together in your thoughts and recap simply. And I thought we'd recap and just thinking about what is meditation all about. And one of the souls last week asked the question, the difference between open-eyed meditation and closed-eyed. And I thought we'll have a look at that first, if that suits everybody. Well, open-eyed meditation, Raja Yoga meditation, is definitely about going within, connecting to the soul. But with the eyes open, you're not going to be distracted so much by the emotions and thoughts that we have when we close our eyes, because you're able to focus on a point or at some distant thing that allows the mind that central focus, which means that it's not distracted so much about what you're feeling. And that's important in meditation. Now, I'll give you the definition of meditation, which I'll read to you because it's quite good. It says meditation is thinking in a positive and purposeful way that helps you reveal, experience, and enjoy your own natural qualities like happiness, love, peace, inner strength, and wisdom. And then we go on to think, when you meditate, you are practicing using your mind in the way you want to use it, which may not necessarily be the way you're used to using it. So you have to train yourself. And all you have to do is to do this, to invest a little time and a little patience. Now, when you look at that, that's a fairly simple thing, because Anthony talked about peace and silence. Now, silence is not just the absence of sound, it's more than that. It's where disruptive, negative, not purposeful thoughts are not taken on board. And that allows peace to reign, because peace and silence work hand in glove there. But with closed eye meditation, yes, you can have beautiful experiences, no doubt about that. But what you lose is the focus. It's more difficult to focus the mind and have the thoughts controlled in the right way, the way you want them to be, than it is with the eyes open. Now, open eye, you can do it anywhere you want. You don't have to be sitting down. You can do it walking around. You can do it waiting on the bus stop, under the shower, cleaning your teeth, vacuuming the floor. It's all times when you can meditate. All you have to do is remember you're a soul, Then you go within that soul consciousness and you become the soul that you are. And that's really important. So by doing that often enough, you'll gradually develop the clarity to successfully master the direction of your life. In short, you'll take charge of your life. And that's important because so often it's so easy for life to pull you this way and that, and life is controlling you, not you controlling life. And it's your journey. So you should be the pilot of your ship. So really think about, how do I go about this? Well, practice is the only thing that you can really do to make it work. Practice, practice, practice. And that means doing it more than once a day. It means creating an environment that makes it easy for you so that when you begin the day, you begin the day with meditation. So first thing in the day, good morning. You say good morning to yourself. You say good morning to the Supreme. And then you say to yourself, I'm going to have a really great day. And you start that, and then you meditate. Now, you've created the positive thought of what you want to achieve, so the mind can focus on that. And in that focus, you can clear the thoughts, get answers to what you need to, questions you need to ask, and simply be peaceful and content. So that makes the start of the day a lot easier. Then during the day, take opportunity. Walking along a corridor, switch off. I'm a soul, I'm a soul. And create that again. Walking, when you have a moment, having a cup of tea, again. Any time that you have an opportunity where you don't have to be engaged with another person, and you don't have to, your mind doesn't need to be over engaged, you can switch into soul consciousness. Even 5 seconds benefits. Then again, in the evening, when you come home from work, spend a couple of minutes quietly. So have a refreshing drink and sit quietly, and then begin your activities for the evening. If you're preparing a meal, or before you eat your meal, it will aid digestion, make the meal more comfortable, and you will feel calmer and easier. Therefore, digestion will definitely take place more easily. And before you go to bed, it's a really good time to go through your day. Check, what did I do? Did I make any mistakes today? Okay, what did I learn from that? Yeah. So how can I change that next time that situation arises or that person confronts that particular situation? And you put in a plan, and then you let it go. And then you look at the things you did achieve and do well, both physically and spiritually. And compliment yourself, pat yourself on the back, particularly your spiritual achievements. That means acting upon the right course that benefits you and others. And then you can say good night and you can go peacefully to sleep. Before you go to sleep, remember to make sure you say good night, and then you say, today I'm going to have a really good sleep. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up and have a great day. And you create that reality. Now, that's really important to have, because otherwise, if you don't do that, you're leaving whatever first thought enters your intellect in the morning to leap in. And it may be someone else's thought. So you could create a foundation for the day that isn't accurate and will not give you the purpose that you want. Now, the second part after going within into soul consciousness is connecting to the Supreme. Now, why do we say that? Because we all need some yardstick to measure by, something that, a perfection in everything. So we can use that as a measuring tool, an aim, if you like, for what you want to try and emulate and follow that. And it gives you that purpose, because we have to realize that it's good to have a relationship with the Supreme. And by that I mean personal, that you want to connect The Supreme is not something that's all around us. It's not inside of us. It's totally different. And yet we can connect. And we can connect through our thoughts when we're in a soul conscious state. And we can enjoy that company. So that in that focus, our mind becomes really clear. We begin to see things through another set of eyes that supports our thoughts. The thought that God is everywhere is such a wrong thing, because it tries to bring God down to our level rather than us rising up to that level. And of course, we can never be the Supreme. How can we? None of us are perfect. But we can at least enjoy that energy when we connect to it in meditation. And so remember that you have a lot of choices in your life. You can really think about what you're doing. So when you use this form of meditation, it becomes easy to use the spiritual powers, that's the strengths that you have, and without sort of really being inaccurate about them. So it gives you an opportunity to think about life, to change the way you think, to change the way you perceive all actions. And I have just a few notes here I'm going to give you on, which I think put it following on from the weeks before. First, you've got to recognize your qualities and special talents. So what are your qualities? People say, oh, I don't know what my qualities are. Well, the old school said, ask someone else. But no, you do know. Are you kind? That's a quality. Do you care about other people? That's a quality. Do you want this world to be a better place? That's a quality. And what are your special talents? And that you have to think about. What do I do well? And how can I use those to benefit myself and others? And that takes a lot of thinking about. And we're not going to go into those because they're individual. If you spend time with yourself, you will realize what they are. And you'll realize how you can use them. And it becomes such a good feeling when I can actually do something, no matter how small, to make a difference to my life and to other people's lives. Now, the second thing is think about what you would like to achieve spiritually and how does this work in with your working or day-to-day life, your family, etc. And this is much harder. What can I achieve spiritually? So what does being a spiritual person mean? That means to be loving, to be peaceful, to have all of the kind virtues, all of those virtues, the good things about human beings, and using them in a way that benefits you and other people, so that you can, if you have the understanding, you can listen to someone with their problems and very gently send sweet loving thoughts without even saying a word. And those loving thoughts can get through to that person and help them come to the decision that they need to make, because none of us can decide for any other person. But you can do that. It's a gentle service, a gentle way of helping. And that's something that you can achieve, a spiritual purpose. How do I make it work with my family? When the family, of course, in families, there are always challenges. There can be lots of loving relationships, but there can also be conflicts, because that's the way of life. We don't always agree with everyone all of the time. So when you're dealing with a situation like that, use your spiritual powers to be able to step back from any situation or experience and gently allow the right action to emerge through thinking it through from a spiritual point of view according to your aspect and the other person's. It doesn't mean you accept what they say, without challenging, and not challenging in the way that's direct, it's only with the thought, or that you expect them to accept your way. But it's being open enough to allow somebody the right to be who they are, but with the consciousness that you can gently and sweetly support them through love, through peaceful thoughts, through happy thoughts, through making them laugh even, that takes the seriousness off the situation. Little things like that that can make it easy. In your workplace, a lot can be challenging in these times, particularly with COVID. People are nervous, they're worried about things, and that often bring that worry into work with them. So you can send sweet energy, soft energy to them, courage. Think in a courageous way, show your own courage, not bravado, courage, and encourage them to be courageous too, so that they can get on with their lives and be able to enjoy whatever challenges come their way. They can enjoy them, knowing that there's a purpose for everything and a reason for everything. And all we have to do is understand that. And that allows us to very much pull together, and we can work as a group of people, a group of souls working together rather than individual souls, not at odds with one another. We don't want to be that way. So very important to do that. And the fourth most important thing is never confuse what you do with what you are, and nor what people do with what they are. And that's a thing that is very common. We judge people by what they do. And we don't know the reason why they do things. We don't know their personal situation, their lifestyle, etc. Whatever ills they may have, we don't know that. And I'll give you an example. I may have used it before, but I think it's a good one. There was a young man that used to work for one of the councils, and he was on the switchboard, but sometimes he'd have to take time off. And and he'd move away from the switchboard. Someone would have to take over at a moment. So, and he'd get very angry and upset. And people used to say, he's an angry person. Isn't he horrid? And they spoke about it behind his back. And then one day the manager came down and he said, I think there's something I need to explain to you. That young man several years ago was in a severe car accident. It's a huge damage to the skull. And as a result of that, he's got a metal plate in his head. Now that metal plate sometimes builds up pressure, and that's what causes that anger. It's not that he's an angry person, but that's the result of that pressure on his brain from the plate in his head. It alters his chemistry. And once people understood that, they no longer saw him as an angry person because they had that little bit of extra knowledge that understood. Now, you're not always going to be privy to that knowledge. So we always have to see the person, soul with their journey. We don't know what their journey is all about. We only see their physical journey. We don't see the soul's journey, although sometimes we can. So never make that judgment of them. Always separate the situation from the person. And then it becomes easy, really easy, because you can say that even without that, no, that person is just upset at this time. But that's their journey. It's not mine. I don't have to get upset because it's not my journey. I can never travel anyone's journey for them. I can travel along with them for a period of time, but I can never travel their journey for them. So we have to think, how can we use spiritual powers to help us move forward? Now, this is a big thing to think about, and you should spend time on that when you have a moment. When you don't use your spiritual powers in the right way, what will happen? You won't see the person. You'll see them only as what they do, as we talked about before, their role. You won't see them as the being that they are, the soul. And we'll forget about that. And this is where the power of humility that Charlie talked about 2 weeks ago comes into play. It's very important. When we come from a point of humility, it helps you use all the other powers in an easier way and in the right way. Because it's like the glue that bonds the other powers together. And I just want you to have some thoughts here. If I have self-respect, I finish all waste thoughts and overcome fear and anxiety. That's the power to back up. Finish all waste thoughts and overcome fear and anxiety. A lot of the problems of the world and the temperaments and emotional distress come from fear and anxiety. So you have to say, is that what affects me at times? Because for most people, it will affect them sometime in their lives. How can I overcome it? How can you overcome it? Self-respect. Self-respect means I'm able to understand myself as a soul. I can realize that this is only the experience I'm having, it is not me. So I can then think how I can go through this experience without taking too much on board. And suddenly the path becomes clear. And second one, if I won't avoid obstacles, but face them with courage. So the power to face is a beautiful power. It's not confronting. It's not avoiding. It's facing with courage. That means I look at the situation. How best should I deal with this from a spiritual point of view, as well as a physical one? And the two run in tandem together. And this makes it easier to be courageous. And that courage can come into every area of your life. So you can really enjoy it. You don't have to be a big muscle-bound person, 6'6" tall, to be courageous. An ant is very courageous. Look how tiny it is. But you watch it when it's attacked, it stands on its hind legs. Doesn't matter how big the opponent is. It does that. Because that's courage. And we look at it. If I am stressed or anxious in any situation, I can go within and find my inner calm. I can detach and take control of any situation. Now, there's this lovely saying that says, if you are stressed, you are living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. But if you're at peace, you're living in the present. Now, that's really true, isn't it? Because most of our stress comes because what has happened before, what I did before, will this happen again? How will I get out of that? I've done that thing wrong, or I've done that thing badly. What will happen? That's part living in the past. Of course, you've got to learn from the past. It's important. We all do things that we, wish we hadn't. Everyone does. We're human beings. But learn from them. Pull a full stop. Say, hang on a sec. I didn't want that to be like that. I didn't want to hurt that person by saying that particular thing. Okay, next time I'll say this instead. I'll step back, I'll take 3 deep breaths, and then I'll say something nice about them rather than something unkind. And that makes it so much easier, doesn't it? Anxiety comes from anticipating what might happen. It hasn't happened yet, but you're anticipating a problem before it's happened. That's where anxiety comes from. It doesn't serve, does it? It doesn't do anyone any good, and it doesn't help you. If you want to be peaceful, live moment by moment. Of course, prepare for the future. You must do that. That's natural. But don't dwell on possibilities that may never happen. You're just wasting energy and you upset yourself in the process. So the next point is, if others oppose you, you adjust to changing circumstances, you accommodate their different roles, and you accept the ideas of others. Now, isn't that a big thing? Accept the ideas of others. We realize and respect the right of everyone to an opinion, and everyone to their belief, because that's their particular role. That's the role of that soul. It's not necessarily the role of you, the soul. And after all, the role is with the soul, not with the body. The body is just how you work with their role. And accepting the ideas of others, we give them the right to be who they are. Because who are we to say they can't be? It's just a lovely way of showing that respect. And when you come from a platform of self-respect, which is where soul consciousness dwells, then you will give respect to others more easily, and you won't condemn. So if you procrastinate, oh, it's a big one, this, we've all done it, isn't it? You find yourself procrastinating often and then you have to pull yourself up. You won't make a clear judgment of a person or a situation. How can you? You're going all over the place over possibilities rather than actual purpose or outcome. So to make an accurate judgment is to be wise and bring balance into your life. So it's about making a judgment of a situation, not being judgmental about a person. Now, if you are tolerant, you will not blame. You won't blame anyone or any situation. You will be optimistic, fearless, and have understanding of the situation or the person involved. Now, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? The person involved. They're the ones that you're really connecting with, aren't you? It's the person there, their soul that we need to connect with, not what they're doing physically. That's just the trimmings, how people go about things. And so instead of frustration, I discern right from wrong, true from false, and my thoughts become clear and uncomplicated. And that way it is easy to find answers. Now I'm going to give you the dictionary meaning of power, because we talk about these 8 powers. And remember, power, strength is also a big thing. Power comes from the Latin potere, to be able. And it means the ability to act. It means might, strength, a spiritual being. Interesting, isn't it? Power is a spiritual being. And it regarded as inert. Inherent. It's natural, existing in something so as to be inseparable from it. So the powers become part of who you are. And that's accurate, because we need to become the powers, not just talk about them, think about them. We have to become them. And there's one more, 2 more powers to go. Instead of frustration, I did read that. So using your spiritual powers in everyday life is like you have to ask these questions of yourself. 1, do I really know who you are, who I am? Do you really know who you are? That's who I am. Do you really know that? And who you are as a soul on a journey through life, living your life to the best of your abilities. And you also have to ask, how well do I know my true self? And that's something only you can ponder. You have to go into the depth of who you are. Look at all your talents, abilities. Look how well you use the powers. Then look at what you perceive as your purpose. And then you get to know your true self in a really worthwhile way. And it makes it easy. Makes it easy to accept what is going on around you, accept others for who they are, and not want them to live up to my expectations or your expectations. And then you have to ask yourself, am I using those powers in a right way, not in the negative way? So I don't get frustrated. Frustration is a part of anger. It's a relative of anger, just as righteous indignation is. And we'll use that as an example because it's quite a good one, and one that comes to the fore a lot. In righteous indignation, people often lose their temper with someone. They become over assertive. They demand something to change, but they forget that in the process of change is a step-by-step thing. So we have to say, okay, yes, we have to, if something isn't right, we have to accept that that's not right, but what can we do about it? Becoming over assertive won't help the situation. But what thought, what power can I use and send that thought to them? Now, of course, thoughts that you need to first send out, of course, is peace, love. What about the power of cooperation? When you send the power of cooperation out to all those concerned, the focused mind is able to focus that thought. And remember, in a focused mind that has learned to focus through meditation will win over an unfocused mind every time. So you can send that power out. You won't influence anybody who's not willing to be influenced. Don't forget. But most people are, because most people are seeking their truth. And so they're open to thoughts that come their way. They're also open to negative thoughts that come their way too. So we have to be very mindful of what we think. And that's where being over assertive, now what do they call it? Passive assertion, can be at times destructive, even though people are taught that it's standing up for themselves. But when you stand up for yourself, it means you're overriding the other person, aren't you? Instead of bringing the two together. Now, bring the two together in balance and harmony is much more desirable than one person attempting to override the other person's thinking. Both ways of the coin. So aim for balance, aim for understanding, aim for a sharing, and then the powers become easier. And you can send the right power at the right time and use it. Sometimes it is pack up, move away. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to step back and listen. But whatever's there, when you have those powers firmly within you, you'll know what the right action is, because you will clear your mind of the unnecessary things. And then you can enjoy any situation. And that way you're not using the powers in a negative way. You've got to remember that challenges come before change. They always come, and then change comes after. And we have to ask ourselves, is the physical world ruling my actions and beliefs? Am I being pulled along by the current of what's happening around me? And we'll use COVID as an example. You can feel miserable and fearful. Oh God, I might catch the virus. I could die. I could become, incapacitated. Or I could end up with blood clots from the injection. All these things could come to your mind. Is that helping? No. We're being ruled by the negative aspect, and no doubt these are possibilities. But if you let your thoughts, as being a soul, think about it, then whatever's going to happen, because we know that the drama of life has a fixity to it. Certain things are going to happen. Now, that which must be cannot be annulled. There are certain things that must happen. So when we come from that acceptance of the drama, we understand we're playing a role in this cycle of human existence, we can go along with an open mind in connecting ourselves as a soul and seeing everyone else as a soul, and help them through that experience by giving them the comforting thought that peace will negate fear. Love will negate all of the negative emotions that will often come into a person's mind about, I might get this, I might get that. Love can negate all of that. Whereas they all come from a platform of fear. And what is fear? It's not real. Because the minute you understand something, the fear leaves. People fear what they don't understand. And keep that in your mind. Now, how do I bring about change? The one thing is to pay attention to knowledge. Now, this knowledge is given every day in the Merli. And hopefully some of you at least looking at the Merli from time to time, because there's plenty of websites where you can pick it up on. Now, remember, in the Merli, there's a lot of things that you won't feel relate to you, and that's because they were written at a time and they were accurate for the time. And many of them were written to a different audience, an audience that now many have left the body. So bear that in mind, but there'll always be something in there. Now, I've got the blessing for today's Merli, and I'm just going to read part of it to you. And this is a really good one to use in this situation about bringing about change. So it says here that finish body consciousness by remaining stable in your self-respect and become an embodiment of success. Self-respect finishes all the different types of body consciousness. And you don't receive as much instant fruit. However, when you forget the word self in self-respect, and you want the respect and honor, then by making the mistake of one word, you begin to make many other mistakes. You then have to work hard to achieve it. Now, that's from today's Merli. So if we use self-respect as a way of bringing about change, we've got to, what is my awareness? Am I aware that I am in a stage of self-respect? If not, how do I gain it? So I go into meditation, great way to do it. I'm a soul, I'm a soul, I'm a peaceful soul. I am a soul. Now, if you say that 10 times and you do that often enough, you become that. And that way you will always have self-respect because it is engendered by the soul. Now, you've got to put the awareness into practice. So self-respect, you give respect to everyone. Therefore, you won't judge, you won't be intolerant, you'll always be cooperative, etc., etc. Because you will see things from a different point of view. You'll see things with broader vision that encompasses all beings. Yes, I've got my role. Everyone else has their role. Let me respect my role and the other person's. And therefore, I can go along with what is accurate, but I can move away or change the thought around what is inaccurate. Then I've got to put that awareness into a really strong practice by every day going into that consciousness of who I am. This is who I am. This is my journey. And then we have to experience it by using that with others, with our interaction. So we begin to change the language that we use so that our language shows respect, but it shows that we understand the other person's point of view and are willing to accept it, even though we don't agree with it. Or sometimes we do. And if we agree with it, then we add to it. We show our point of view that builds on theirs. And we can have a really beautiful time with other souls for a lot of our day by just using those simple ways. There's a saying that the longest journey is from the head to the heart. If we're always up intellectualizing things, we forget about bringing it into the being that we are. And so it's all theory and no practice. So we have to practice. That is the balance, head and heart connected in I am the soul. And you can bring your spiritual purpose and your living purpose together and review their progress every day. So you connect with the true self using meditation. And that's the easiest, simplest, and greatest way you can do it. And it takes very little time. And it becomes part of who you are. Therefore, the journey becomes easier. No journey is ever 100% easy at this time in the cycle. But it does get easier when we know who we are, we believe in who we are, we've got our goals set and our purpose set to become the best being that we can, with understanding others and allowing them to play their roles, and having good wishes for everyone so that we can, when comfort is needed, we can offer comfort. When love is needed, we can offer love, and we can do it without thinking about it. So all of the powers become accurate and easy to access. They're at the top of the pile. The one that's needed jumps to the top of the pile, and we automatically become that. And that changes your relationship with all of those around you. And over a very short space of time, even with family members and people you work with, your relationship will change to bring that lovely balance into being and to give you that sweetness. But never forget the connection to the Supreme. There can be no spirituality without the consciousness of the Supreme. And that is the, if you like, the putty that glues it all together. And it's got nothing to do with religion, and no disrespect to anyone's religion. This is what existed before religions came into being. This is, religions are only 2,500 years old, the oldest one. But what we have is an understanding outside of that of this pure essence, this pure being of light that we can make connection with through our thoughts, and we can bring into our understanding. And therefore, with that focus of the mind, we can easily get the answers to any question we want, because we're using a single focus. And when you're on a single focus, you're not cluttered by all the thoughts coming in and bombarding you from others and from your own self. And it makes decision making easy. Hence, the powers emerge simply and when they're needed. And you become a happy, comfortable, peaceful being that can really enjoy the silence of the absence of those negative waste thoughts that can bring our day to a tiring end, even when we haven't done much physical activity. So I'll leave that there because we're running perhaps a little bit out of time. And maybe there's some questions or some comments that you'd like to make. Comments are great, because remember, it's just sharing what you think.
Okay, the chat box is open, Lynn. What a wonderful array of spiritual, practical wisdom you've shared with us tonight. It's been delightful. And it may well be that so much wisdom has come across that someone may be scratching their head and saying, what did she say about this? And I'm quite sure for all of you who are with us that Lynn would be happy to repeat if there was something that you thought, oh, I wish I'd noted that down and missed it. I kind of like this idea that when I understand myself as a spiritual being, I can be aware that what I've done is not who I am.
Yeah.
And that's really how you titled this talk, and it's very appropriate. And that the other thing is that what gives us access to this perfect pure energy that you talk about as the supreme soul, and which religion calls God. Um, what gives us access to that?
That's a good point, because meditation is the real way to do it. Look, you can do it outside of meditation, but when you begin, you have to do it through the practice of meditation, because you've got to set the pattern in place. Now, remember, we can go into meditation in a nanosecond, but it takes practice. And look, it's the best investment you'll ever make for spiritual health. It's greater than any life insurance policy to protect you too from, the untoward things of life. But when you look at things, you gather, it's like you gather together all of the thoughts in meditation, and then you sift out the ones that don't serve you, and that's going within. And then we put out the connecting thought, because it's like having a power source, a receiver out there that gives us the perfect clean energy that has all of the perfections of human beings can possibly aim for and more. So it's easy to focus on something that is accurate and is fine-tuned to us, something that does it with love. And remember, the Supreme Being is a being of love and light, of peace, of all of the virtues. And not only does the Supreme have them in quantity, in oceans of. So the biggest thing on this earth is the ocean. What's covered 75% of the earth, something like that. Used to be slightly less, but it's gone up with the melting of the polar ice caps. And so what we have is this incredible source of energy that comes from a platform of love unconditionally, that accepts us for who we are, that never judges us, that allows us to be who we are, but encourages us through the words, through the Murli, to be something better, that holds our hand in times of trouble, not of course in the physical sense, but in the metaphysical sense, and that really allows us to have a clear mind so that we can then discern our own thoughts and the right ones to use at the right time, hence the powers. And if you practice the powers one a week, every day for a whole, 8 days, you make them easy. So practice 1 power a day. You'll find your connection to the Supreme becomes easier because you're coming from that strength of focus. And this is the greatest blessing mankind has, humankind has, that we have access to this supreme being, this being of light that is all loving, all peaceful, all of the good things that you can think of, that's who they are. And that's why we call affectionately in Brahma Kumaris, call that being Baba. It's affectionate like daddy. It's a lovely affectionate term. Sweet Baba, my Baba. We claim the right to that relationship. And we can claim all relationships with him. And I'm using the word him, her, she. We can't say it because it's disrespectful, but it's all, no, it's God is genderless. So the Supreme, it does have no gender, no physical body. So it's that beautiful energy. And in that energy, we feel the love. And even now, talking about the Supreme, I feel the love coming in because of practice of meditation. That's the gift that the Supreme gives us. Does
You
that?
know, the way you're talking about connecting and focusing suggests that the Supreme Being has an identity.
Well, indeed, he does. The identity is all of the virtues. It's a point of light, a light of energy, point of energy. So that it's active energy. It's not passive. It's active energy. The identity is, what's the name of the Supreme? The benefactor, Shiva. Benefactor, what does a benefactor do? It gives benefit to everyone. That's why everyone that's connected. So that's where the benefactor comes in. And we need to see that role. Also, the role of father, mother, teacher. They're roles that are played on a spiritual level, not physically, of course, but we feel it physically because we make the connection. And we make the connection with a true heart. And that's important. The true heart's very important. So we're not demanding or asserting, we're connecting. And all of the roles are there. The Supreme can be my best friend. And, if you have problems, you talk over the problems with the Supreme. Why not? Who better to listen? Here's someone who has access to every soul that will ever exist. They've got access to them. They can see the big picture. We can't. So when we open ourselves, we allow the thoughts. Not the Supreme doesn't go and tap us on the shoulder, hey, you should be doing this. That's not what it's all about. By focusing on it with the right intent, we clear away all the unnecessary thoughts disappear and the right thought emerges and we can act upon it. Does that help?
You're making it clear, and that there is a purpose for the connection, and the connection has a method. It's not an amorphous kind of the universe,
No.
which yes, is quite common these days. But that it's a particular identity, has a particular place, and there's a method for making this connection. This is, of course, what we teach in Raja Yoga, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, right. There are some questions, and shall I just have a look at the chat? Give me a minute because I'll have to read. Thank you for your wise words. That's appreciation. You gave me better understanding of the eye open method of meditation. Good. Lynn, you are brimming with helpful wisdom, especially about how we don't know other people's situation, and it's easy to form opinions about angry people without truly knowing their story. I like that bit, and I repeated it before. Even our own story, we can say, this is something I'm experiencing, this is not me. It's a very good point. Okay, something else. This evening has been so peaceful and meaningful. Please, could you go over, let's have a look, go over the aspect of the longest journey being from the head to the heart. I'm so enriched by your spiritual knowledge. Thanks, Lynn. So a lot of appreciation there. Left with one question. Do you want to unpack a little bit the longest journey from the head to the heart?
Yeah, this is a really important journey because we intellectualize everything, particularly in the Western world. We're intellectual beings. We've been taught to do that. Look at all the education systems. It's all about thinking, thinking, thinking. But it's not about bringing it into realization. Now, mind and heart have to work in harmony. That's balance. That means it's not that you're emotional, but it's the feelings. But it's not the feelings that are unnecessary. It's the feelings that we have that are right for us. Through meditation, we can discern those ones. We can work out what they are. And they're pretty easy. Love, peace, happiness, cooperation, all of those things. Feeling free, unburdened by other people's responsibilities, no burden from our own responsibilities, seeing the world through clear eyes, understanding our connection to the Father, and enjoying the relationship to the Father starts to give us the heart stuff. So the heart, the heart is a beautiful thing. It really is. What do we do? Excuse me a sec. We really have to think about that. I don't want to be emotive. I want to understand. So this is thought comes, understanding comes through the heart. So I balance thought and understanding. So I perceive all situations in a more accurate way so that I can become who I'm meant to become. And I can perceive others. I can see them for their good points, not just judge them for the actions that they're doing. That's bringing the heart into play. I can understand what they're going through without getting involved in it. That's still bringing the heart into play because I'm not reinforcing their experience that is causing them sorrow. I'm stepping back from it and sending comfort in the time of sorrow or whatever's appropriate. So I can do that when I have heart and mind connected in a balance. Does that help at all?
Does that help you there? I was, you were talking about courage, and I was thinking, it's really courage to take myself seriously.
Yes, yeah, it does. Seriously, you're right. It does take courage. It takes courage to connect as a soul because you're flying against the last few hundred years where we've been taught to be conscious of ourselves as a body and be all end all. And even when you look back, all right, spirituality's been around, and so people have been aware of themselves and reincarnation for a couple of hundred years, really. I mean, it goes back to the 1800s, Blavatsky, Madame Blavatsky, people like that, and all the great authors. You look at the writings of Marie Corelli, who was a Rosicrucian. She wrote a lot of books about the soul. In fact, my favourite book as a young girl growing up was also my grandmother's book, and that's about the story of a dead self, where a story where this person has an experience of himself as in another life, but he's there with that life. And it was a really lovely book to make you think about reincarnation. But we got locked in that reincarnation and we forgot that that's not the issue. Yes, it exists, but I, the soul, am that. I am all the incarnations I've been. So we don't have to know about each one of them. What we need to do is understand that I, the soul, have had all these experiences of all of these lives, and that's what has made me the unique and amazing person that I am today. And out of 7.8 billion people on the earth, no two people are alike. Pretty amazing, isn't it?
It is, even in feature. Can look similar, but cannot be alike. I also liked your point, Lynn, about creating your own reality with your awareness and your attitude, and you were relating it to at night, going to bed with create your reality as to how you want to wake up or how you want to sleep during the night. But it came to me as creating your own reality, who you really are in that awareness affects your awareness, affects your attitude, and so on. But creating your reality before you go to sleep, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. And becoming it. Remember, creating it is the first step. You've got to become it. That means it becomes natural. It's automatic every night. It becomes automatic. And then it is you.
It's you, yes. Have the courage to take yourself seriously. There is something here, isn't there? Wonderful, thank you. There's such a lot of power in the heart. Okay, that's a nice comment.
It is a lovely
comment. Lynn, what do you think? If there are no more questions, any comments coming? If there are no more, Shall we join Lynn? Let Lynn take us into an experience.
Yeah.
Feelings are experience, and certainly we've had a good experience of them this evening. Thank you, Lynn. It's just been great. Cut to the chase.
Yes, right.
So shall we have now no more questions? So shall we have
Yes.
a connection? Thank you, Lynn.
So take some lovely deep breaths so that you feel the calming energy coming in. And as I breathe in, I realize I am a soul, a point of light and energy, a spiritual being. And I am in the consciousness of who I am. This is who I am. I'm not my body, I'm a soul. And as I connect with the soul and I go deep within my being, I find that inside the heart something lovely emerges. A white rose, the rose of purity and peace, of love and kindness. And I am that. And that rose connects to the lotus of the mind, the white lotus of thought. And I use that visualization to make a picture. And then I let go of that picture and I become peace and love. And I allow the supreme energy to connect, and I become one in thought with the supreme. And I breathe that thought, that love, that peace, that ocean of all that is good. I breathe that in. I breathe. So sweet and deep is my breath that my mind will slow and my heart will feel warm as I enjoy this beautiful relationship. Baba, the sweetest Baba of all, the Father of all humanity, offers his sweet love to me. To me. This is the greatest being in all the universe, loves me. It is the most incredible experience. And I feel that love. And I take it into my soul and share it with others so that we can all connect, all of us tonight, connect that love together. You and I and Baba in a sweet connection of love. Keep breathing. Feel the love. Don't let it drop. Keep building and building. This is your journey. This is your light. This is your love. And it's for sharing. And how fortunate we are to be able to do this and come from that platform of love. I, the soul, the being of love all the world and everyone in it. And I can do that because of the strength of my connection with the Supreme. Peace, love, happiness, all fulfill all my desires. I need nothing. I am who I am, and I like who I am. And I'll become stronger and stronger every day in the power of that love. So let us just spend a moment breathing in that love and drawing it in. Om Shanti.